Hi, it's Conor Svensson here, founder and CEO of Web3 Labs, and this is your Week in Blockchain on Monday, the 23rd of August 2021. The highlights this week include the coin market cap has rebroken $2 trillion. Over half of the world's largest banks are now investing in crypto and blockchain companies. Dogecoin Foundation is back. Galaxy Digital launches a DeFi index tracker fund. Polygon is to transition to a DAO structure, and SuperRare is launching a token. The market capitalization of the cryptocurrency markets has broken the $2 trillion barrier again. The last time it was up this high was back in May, which was followed, of course, by a big crash in prices. Exactly what the drivers are for this, of course, are not crystal clear, but at the same time, it's certainly a good thing for the markets more generally to see them bounce back so quickly. One of the interesting movements, though, that has happened in this has been with Cardano, which has actually overtaken Binance Smart Chain as the third largest cryptocurrency behind Bitcoin and Ethereum. So now we have Bitcoin with a market cap of 921 billion, Ethereum 381, and Cardano at 84 billion. So it's a big move there, and is potentially being driven by the interest in the smart contracts that are going to be released on the platform, which we've spoken about in previous issues. Samsung Electronics, they've partnered with the Bank of Korea to create a platform for central bank digital currencies. They're due to be collaborating to establish this first ever platform for CBDCs in South Korea. They commenced the pilot project at the end of July, which has also had participation from a technology company called GroundX, which focuses on integrating blockchain with other technologies in the market. And they're also a subsidiary of Korea's largest mobile platform, Kakao. Again, CBDCs, it's one of the areas that there's a lot of interest in the application of blockchain technology. So, seeing this movement here in South Korea is no surprise given all of the other nations that are following suit. But it's definitely good news again for the adoption of the underlying technology and helping to apply it to very well defined, sensible use cases here. Ethereum's staking contract now holds over $21 billion of Ether, which makes it the largest smart contract holding the cryptocurrency Ether. So this contract's basically, in order to transition off the energy intensive proof of work consensus, which Ethereum and Bitcoin uses currently, what they have is they have a new network that's been launched, but in order to actually stake on that network, which means put your funds into it and see a return on them, which is currently around 6.5% APR, you need to actually send Ether to this specific contract. So this is a one-way transaction, but all of the funds that are now locked up into it is a very positive sign of just continuing to see more and more interest in people staking their Ether to see a return on it, and of course confidence in the underlying technology here as well, which will be transitioned to in early 2022. The majority of the world's largest banks are now invested in crypto and blockchain projects. This is off the back of a research piece that has come from the firm Blockdata. What they've done is that they've looked at, out of the world's largest 100 banks by assets under management, 55 of them have investments in crypto or blockchain related businesses, either directly or through subsidiaries. They also named who are those most active banks as well. And at the top of the list is the UK-based bank Barclays, which has got investments in 19 blockchain firms, followed by Citigroup with 9, and Goldman Sachs with 8, and JP Morgan with 7, and BNP Paribas with 6. The funny thing, though, with Barclays, of course, being at the top of the list, we've spoken previously about how Barclays, as with many of the other UK banks, are being quite careful around controlling access to crypto investment platforms for their actual users. So whilst at one level you have them getting involved with these investments in crypto and blockchain companies, at the other side, there's definitely on the more conservative side when it comes to enabling their customers to deal with crypto exchanges and so on. So while not a direct contradiction, it's kind of it's an interesting dichotomy there, where they've at one hand embracing it, but at the other being quite cautious towards their customers there. But of course, at the end of the day, it is very important that they do protect their customers against the crypto scams and so on and so forth. The Dogecoin Foundation is back. It's It's been laying dormant for a number of years, but now they've actually relaunched it, and it's got a new advisory board, which actually has Vitalik Buterin, the creator of Ethereum, and the Elon Musk's representative Jared Birchall, according to a statement that was released. In addition, as well, the core developers of Dogecoin are on the board. Arguably something of not necessarily surprise, but definitely a big takeaway here is Vitalik Buterin, the creator of Ethereum. He's been quite vocal in the past about how he loves these meme coins, but it's really coming from the fact that he thinks it's a lot of fun, and Dogecoin's like one of the original ones there. But to have him actually sitting on the foundation there is big news, because it shows that he's quite invested in seeing the success of Dogecoin longer term, and also having the representative on behalf of Elon Musk as well there. Again, that's another significant thing, because Elon's been very vocal about Dogecoin and so on, and so much as people have kind of mocked what's happened during the past year with respect to the traction and interest in Dogecoin, this could definitely position it as something more serious for the longer term, having having these people involved in the foundation there. So it's definitely one to watch. I don't think it fundamentally changes what Dogecoin is going to be used for as such, but it's again, a significant piece of news. Off the back of all of the regulatory woes that we've spoken about on numerous occasions recently with Binance, they're now enforcing mandatory KYC on all users of the platform. Off the back of this regulatory pressure, they're apparently requiring all users to complete intermediary verification. Given all the pressures they've been under, it makes sense that they're starting to really step up more actively things that around KYC and just their customer onboarding there. Yeah, so it's certainly a step in the right direction for them. Coinbase has announced its expansion into the Japanese market. We covered that they'd received regulatory approval in a previous edition, but they're going to actually be aided by a partnership with Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group, which is one of the largest banking institutions in Japan. Coinbase want to be the easiest to use and most trusted exchange there, and be fully compliant with all of the local regulations. And so, having this sort of partnership is going to be, very significant for Coinbase in able to actually achieve these aims. Coinbase has also announced this week that they've received board approval to purchase over $500 million of crypto to hold on their balance sheet to add to their existing holdings. And they're actually going to be investing 10% of all profit going forward into crypto as well. So again, it's no big surprise there that Coinbase wants to actually hold crypto on their balance sheet. But I think one of the interesting takeaways here is that they want to invest 10% of all profit going forward into crypto, because one of the questions that I think a lot of people have and businesses are thinking about is that this market is growing and growing, but what's kind of a sensible way forward with respect to actually having greater exposure to the asset class. At the more conservative ends of the spectrum, people talk about having maybe 1 to 3% of portfolio holdings in it, but then at the other extreme, you have companies who are basically being paid in crypto and keeping a lot of their funds in crypto. And so to see Coinbase come out and say that they're going to be investing 10% of all profits there, it's a fascinating peg. Whether that and it starts to be adopted by more companies, we shall see, but I think it's a significant piece of news anyway for them to put out there. So according to the blockchain data analysis company Chainalysis, they've reported that global cryptocurrency adoption has skyrocketed worldwide, which of course there's no big surprises of, but specifically they believe that in the last year the adoption of them has grown over 880%, and these platforms in emerging economies are speculated to actually be propelling a lot of this growth as well. In terms of breaking down some of the other stats there, the global adoption has risen by 2,300% since the third quarter of 2019 and over 880% in 2020, basically. Microsoft, they've released a a paper by their research department where they worked with researchers from Alibaba and Carnegie University, looking at a blockchain-based incentive system to bolster anti-piracy campaigns. The title of the research talks about this incentive system they've named Argus, and they want it to provide a trustless incentive mechanism while protecting data collected from the open, anonymous population of piracy reporters. Really what they want to be able to do here is backtrace pirated content with a watermark algorithm. They've termed this proof of leakage, and the idea here is that an informer can actually report that something's been pirated without actually owning it. Another fascinating piece of research to come out of Microsoft. TikTok, the very popular video platform, has picked the Audius streaming service to power their new Sounds library. So Audius is a music streaming platform that uses Ethereum and Solana. It's been around since 2018. What Audius want to do is provide a decentralized media player, and what they've done with this partnership, what they want to do is streamline TikTok's music upload and selection process, and Audius users can now simply upload tracks and share them to TikTok, and this Audius apparently is the first streaming platform to allow direct sharing to TikTok, which is a big win for them, given that they've only recently crossed the 5 million user mark. Researchers have introduced pandemic vaccination distribution scheme using blockchain and 5G. This is in a paper that was published in the IEEE Journal of Biomedical and Health Informatics this month. They've come up with this vaccination distribution scheme called VacoChain, and it uses blockchain and unmanned aerial vehicles along with 5G communication services for the timely distribution of vaccines. This is in order just in more remote places and areas where it's harder to actually distribute the vaccines, just make it easier to actually to get it to them. So again, it's a good move forward to that end. There's been a couple of new initiatives in the sustainability landscape as well that have come out this week, with IBM and Mitsubishi to track capture and reuse of CO2 on the blockchain. IBM Japan is partnering with Mitsubishi Heavy Industries to develop a solution they've called CO2 Nenex that uses blockchain to track the capture and reusage of CO2. Mitsubishi will provide the physical infrastructure, and IBM will be creating the digital platform to trace it. TotalEnergies as well, which formerly the energy company Total, have partnered with the blockchain traceability provider Circulor to develop a solution for hard to recycle plastics. The project is called TrackCycle and has had funding from the UK innovation agency Innovate UK. The intent here is actually to track the plastics from the waste source through to the recycled polymers, and so organisations can make better decisions about how to promote the right incentive streams to motivate sustainable consumption behaviour. The Indian securities regulator SEBI has mandated blockchain to track bond statuses. So SEBI is the Securities and Exchange Board of India, and what they've said is that DLT and blockchain should be used to monitor the status of bonds or other listed debt securities. This isn't actually, though, to use blockchain to digitize the debt instruments. It's to monitor the assets given as a security for the debenture and whether or not the issuer is up to date with interest payments. So it's really for reporting and transparency purposes here. But again, it's very positive news for them to actually be mandating this as well. Moving over to protocol news, the Polygon network, they've acquired the Hermez Network for $250 million, and they're going to merge their tokens. And so Hermez is a ZK rollup project. So ZK rollup is one of the scaling technologies which uses something called zero knowledge proofs to actually prove that blocks of transactions have taken place. It's a way of scaling these blockchain networks. Polygon, in effect, though, is acquiring Hermez and giving them $250 million of the Polygon token. So there's 26 people currently in the Hermez team, and so again, it's going to be significant in helping propel the growth of Polygon, with respect to these ZK rollup technologies, which again is a very fast-moving area of research and development, and certainly viewed as one of the areas that's going to help with scalability of public blockchain applications significantly. Polygon have also announced that they're going to be forming a DAO, or decentralized autonomous organization. Their plan is that they're going to transition to this DAO-based governance, payments, and it can attract 100 million users. And so the idea is that the community will have an ongoing say in the development of the protocol, and they view this as a next logical step for this. Vitalik Buterin, in a blog post, has also broken down this week how, following the London hard fork that happened earlier in the month, how it's actually increased the Ethereum blockchain capacity by 9%. This did explain as well why the overall ether used or gas used in transactions went up to from 92 to more than 100 billion around the time of the update. But he's broken down in this blog post exactly how it has added additional capacity there, which I won't go into detail here, but you can certainly read the post on this. Kusama Network, the R&D network associated with Polkadot, they're set to launch their next 5 parachain auctions in the coming weeks. We spoke previously about how in June the first parachain auctions completed and they were successful, and so this will be an opportunity for projects to actually auction and be basically using be natives on the Kusama parachain. Over in DeFi news, the Poly network, which we spoke about last week, after they had their record-breaking $600 million hack, they've created a bug bounty program now in order to help prevent exploits like these happening again in the future. The intent here is that they're offering $500,000 to Mr. White Hat, who did perform the actual hack previously, but they also want to ensure that people are well compensated if they identify vulnerabilities again in the future. There was also an interesting piece that came out this week that one of the Ethereum decentralized exchanges managed to avoid a 350 million DeFi hack thanks to White Hat hacker. So there was a BitDAO token sale on SushiSwap's Miso platform, which is a launch pad for new tokens, and the sale went through, raising 365 million. But apparently, while the sale was taking place, a White Hat hacker identified a potential vulnerability there, but discussed this with the SushiSwap team and BitDAO, and ultimately they closed the token sale in order to neutralize the potential threats. And fortunately, in this regard, no one actually exploited the platform and managed to move forward okay, and the relevant holes can be fixed in the underlying smart contract. Another piece from Vitalik Buterin this week, he believes that decentralized governance is actually holding back the DeFi ecosystem, and so with a lot of the governance structures that are used by these DeFi projects now, they use tokens and voting mechanism based on the holdings of token holders. And his view is that they need to move beyond how it exists in its current form, because there's sort of this misaligning of incentives and the vulnerability to things like vote buying and so on here. So again, another piece that's worth reading a bit more into if you want to know more. The DEX aggregator 1inch has expanded onto the Ethereum scaling solution Optimisme. Optimisme and Polygon, they're the two dominant networks that companies are using to actually scale on top of Ethereum, and so 1inch expanding onto that was no big surprises there, but of course it means that they can start to handle greater transaction throughput, which apparently will be up to 2,000 transactions per second on the Optimisme Ethereum platform. Obviously 1inch wouldn't be taking all of that, but it's a significant increase of Ethereum's current, which is around 15. The Avalanche protocol, they've launched a $180 million DeFi incentive scheme alongside Aaye and Curve. So the Avalanche Foundation, who run the Avalanche blockchain, they've created this new incentive program called Avalanche Rush, and what they're putting up $180 million in incentives to lure more DeFi assets and applications to the network. And again, this is what we've seen again and again with a lot of these protocols. They're very well funded, and so they've got these incentive schemes that they're creating in order to actually get people building more on the different platforms. And so there's a lot of opportunity there for people. Galaxy Digital, the cryptocurrency trading firm run by Mike Novogratz, has launched a DeFi index fund as well, which is a passively managed vehicle that tracks the performance of the newly launched Bloomberg Galaxy DeFi Index. It seeks to provide institutional investors access to returns based on the performance of DeFi tokens, and it offers exposure to lending and exchange platforms like Uniswap, Aave, Maker, and others, and it's seeded by NZ funds here. The custody firm Anchorage has launched a governance voting with Aave as well. So the cryptocurrency Anchorage firm is offering blockchain governance voting services, working with Aave on this. So institutions and token holders can use Anchorage's governance portal to participate in on-chain governance, which is critical to Aave. And so this system actually uses a separate voting key, so digital assets themselves can remain in storage. And so it's a big step forward here in terms of being able to enable the sort of governance of the underlying platform. Over in NFT news, Time Magazine and Cool Cats are working to give away NFTs for great memes. So Time, we've spoken previously about how they've sold a number of NFT magazine covers, which were very successful. They're getting back into crypto collectibles with this collaboration with Cool Cats, which is a new series of NFTs which spans 400 images across 4 different designs, and each features an adorable cat illustration similar to those from Cool Cats, but now they're shown reading Time magazine in each image. These collectibles won't be sold off or auctioned off directly to collectors. They're going to Time, and Cool Cats are actually going to be holding a competition who can make the best memes related to the project as judged by the collaborators. So it'll be a nice way for people to actually get their hands on some NFTs for free if they're creatively enough inclined with their memes there. Alibaba has announced it's launching an NFT marketplace for copyright trading, and this allows trademark holders to sell tokenized licenses to their intellectual property. The NFT marketplace, which is called the Blockchain Digital Copyright and Asset Trade, which can be accessed via Alibaba's auction platform. And NFTs launched via the platform will be issued on the new copyright blockchain, which is this DLT platform, which is centrally operated by the Sichuan Blockchain Association Copyright Committee. The intent here is that this platform will target writers, musicians, artists, and game developers. But it certainly seems like a good route forward in terms of having something that provides greater transparency on copyrights and ownership of these sorts of assets. The digital collections platform Terra Virtua has moved from Ethereum to Polygon due to their concerns around the electricity usage on the Ethereum network, and so they've chosen Polygon in order to help reduce the energy consumption required to actually launch an NFT. And also the NFT marketplace on Ethereum Super Rare is launching a token, and it's giving away 150 million of them. So Super Rare is one of the leading marketplaces for NFT artwork that's tokenized on the Ethereum blockchain, and they're looking to decentralize the project, and so they're launching this rare curation token and a DAO to support it. Previously, the Super Rare staff have basically had the discretion to decide who actually lists things on the platform, but they're going to open it up so you can have these community operated spaces, which will allow a wider array of artists to join the platform. And then this DAO will actually manage the growing treasury of Rare and ETH. So again, it's a significant step forward there. We saw Uniswap a year or two back actually transition to providing its own token, which was very, very successful. Uniswap's the leading decentralized exchange. So whether you start to see something similar happening with these NFT venues, it seems logical that it could follow what happened in DeFi there. So definitely one to watch. And then finally, the co-founder of Vines is making playable video games as Ethereum NFTs, and so this new project, which is called SupDrive, which is an NFT project who's the co-founder of the shuttered looping video service Vine. It's going to be an on-chain fantasy console where the NFTs can serve as the video games. If you own the NFT, then you can play it with the SupDrive virtual firmware software. So initially the roster of games is going to be fairly small, but over time the creator Hoffman, he intends to actually open it up to a number of different collaborators. Another fun idea for use of NFTs, and you can certainly see there being some interest here in terms of people owning these collectible video games for the platform. channel. Moving on to our crypto metrics, the crypto market cap is, as we said earlier on, it's broken 2 trillion, so it's currently at $2.1 trillion. That's up almost 7% from last week. Assets locked in DeFi has remained relatively stable at just over $83 billion. And then the 7-day NFT sales are up 15% at over 210 million, with an average price up 25% to $3,700. That's all we have for this week. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to our podcast, our YouTube channel, and leave reviews as well. They're definitely appreciated. Links to all items discussed are available in the show notes and on our website, weekinblockchain.com. We've also just launched a new podcast called Blockchain Innovators, where I speak to people who have made significant contributions to the blockchain ecosystems. Find out what inspires these people, get their thoughts on the latest industry news and events spanning crypto, blockchain protocols, DeFi, NFTs, DAOs, and IoT. Thanks, and I'll see you next week.